Welcome to another episode of Montana Shares, your opportunity to find out about the nonprofits that make our community great. Today I have Kathy with Lewis and Clark Humane Society with me. Hello, Kathy.
Hello, how are you?
Great, and you?
Doing well, thanks.
Super. Let's find out about what Lewis and Clark Humane Society is all about. Let's start with the big aerial view and we'll work our way in from there.
Well, the Lewis and Clark Humane Society, we're going into our 51st year. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary in 2014, so we're really looking forward to a positive future, an exciting future for the shelter for the next 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot going on. There's always stuff going on at the shelter.
And we have a couple events we'll talk about eventually, but
Yes.
give us some of the stats as far as, like I say, sort of the big view of how many dogs, cats that you do take care of in a year, things like that.
We can take up to about 2,000 a year that come through our door.
Mm-hmm.
Some years are a little bit more, some are a little bit less, but there are cats and dogs coming in all the time. Periodically we get a rooster or two, and we've had a pig, we've had goats and lambs, and every now and then there's a little bit of extra kind of animal than a cat and a dog.
I was just going to ask you that very question because I know several years back you had an alligator come through.
Yeah.
The alligator and turtle that were living in someone's bathtub.
We just had a couple turtles a few months back. So we take care of all the animals that come through.
All the animals. And while you're officially not a no-kill animal shelter, you work with animals with lots of issues and get them placed out in the community.
Absolutely. We don't have a limit on length of stay or space or anything like that. And we have our foster families that we can thank for that, because if we do get full, we have so many foster fur parents that we can call, and they come to our rescue and they say, we'll take them home. There's always room for one more, is kind of their saying. And our longest resident that we have right now, it's a dog. Her name is Jasmine, and she's been there for about 1.5 years. And we're not going to give up on her.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like there's a perfect match out there somewhere, and we're going to find a home for her.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
My wife and I are big pet people.
Are
so
you?
anything
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's while the shelter has certain hours, I guess, what are the hours in general for the shelter?
Well, we are technically closed on Sunday and Monday, but we do have staff there because the animals still need taken care of on our closed days.
Right.
So there are staff there, mostly in the morning, from like 7 or 8 until noon or 1. And people have dropped off donations and stuff during those times, but we're not open to the public to look at animals during those times. But Tuesday through Friday, we are open from noon till 6. Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, 10 until 6. It's better if you're looking for an animal, it's better to come down there. We do have a website where you can look at the photos of the adoptable animals. But it's just not the same as actually seeing them and seeing how they react to you and that kind of thing in person. So
behind the scenes, the hours that you're not closed, you've got pretty much a full staff there during the regular business hours, feeding and cleaning. What's behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes is every morning, every kennel gets cleaned, new bedding, dishes are washed. I always say, I didn't know until I worked at the Humane Society how well these animals were treated. They're treated better than some animals at home. I don't wash my dog's bowl every day, but these animals get, fresh bedding and clean bowls and walked. They get, one of the greatest things that we have going on now is our play group. And it's something we just started a few months back. They had done it a few years ago, but this is kind of a new improved version. And this is a play group. I liken it to like recess for dogs. Every day, twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, the animals, the dogs, go out, and there's a core group of the dogs that are what we call bomb-proof. They get along with everybody. They're just happy-go-lucky, and they're running around and playing. And then we slowly add in another one, and then another one, and then by the end of the day, sometimes you can have 30 or more dogs out there just playing and running and jumping in the water in the pool and just having a good old time. And what that does is makes them calmer. They get to exert a lot more energy, and then so when they're in their kennel, they're not as stressed.
Right.
So they present themselves better to people when they are when people walk by in their kennels to look at them to see if maybe, you know, that's the dog I want or whatever, they're not stressed out. They're just relaxed and happy and smiling and, you know, just a happier animal.
Right. I think dogs tend to have really good pack instincts and tend to get along
Absolutely.
really well.
Right.
When they're on leashes and stuff, they're maybe a little more
Right.
probably picking up on some of our owner fears that we want to make sure they behave in
Yeah,
public.
they're very intuitive.
And so having the opportunity just to go out and play and not have anyone's fears or worries involved is probably a really positive thing for them to do.
It's very positive, and that's one thing that we try to teach people is there's a right way and a wrong way to introduce dogs to each other. You can't just throw them out there and hope they get along. You know, you do keep them both on leash. You let them do the sniffing and walking around each other and all of that, because like you said, it's a pack instinct thing. They're, you know, who they kind of start figuring who's alpha and who's not and all of that. But there's a right way to do it, and it's not going to happen immediately for some dogs. You know, our trainers will tell you it takes some time, and that's where you just have to be real patient. It's not going to happen a day. Some it might happen a day or a week or whatever, but some dogs, you know, have, and we don't know what a lot of these dogs have been through. So it might take a week, a month, or 2 months, you know, to get past and retrain them, you know, for certain things.
You've got a ton of probably super valuable volunteers. Is that a correct statement?
We do. We couldn't function without our volunteers, literally. We count on them to help socialize our animals that are, you know, they come in, they're scared, there's new smells, there's all kinds of dogs, and even with our cats, it's the same kind of thing. So we have a nice big cat room, so we have volunteers that come almost every day. Some do, and then, you know, there's others that filter in all the time whenever it's convenient, but they just go and sit in there with the cats, and they pet them, and they play with the feather toys, and, you know, throw the little ball for them, and the same thing with the dog. Get them out of their kennel, take them into a yard, play fetch with them. Sometimes you just go sit on the grass with them, you know, and just pet them, and it just gets them used to human touch, and that, you know, they're safe. Everything else, the noises from just being outside, it just really helps socialize them.
Right.
And there's other places too that we use our volunteers for all of our events. We couldn't, you know, like our spaghetti event in March, we could never pull that event off without our volunteers. But our volunteers also walk dogs. The dogs that aren't ready for playgroup do get walked twice a day too. So we have volunteers that do that.
And there's that flip side to it. I think I like the bumper sticker of who saved who or whatever it says.
Yeah.
You know, I have a dog that I walk pretty much a mile in the morning, and then either my wife or I walks it for another mile in the evening. And there's that huge benefit to us as a
Right.
human to be
Right.
out there being active with the dogs. And there's probably a huge benefit to the volunteers that are actually even just sitting there petting cats and playing with the cats to take a break from days that it's probably to their benefit to slow down and relax a little
It's
bit.
very therapeutic.
Right, that's
yeah.
a good word for it.
You know, even, you know, we keep talking about dogs, but it's both dogs and cats. You know, just having that time, quiet time sometimes is what they need, and also what we as humans need. You know, just to sit there and kind of just don't have to think. You just talk to the animal and pet it, and you get relaxed. It kind of slows your heartbeat, you know, and that's why they do, you know, you think of animal therapies. That's why they're using dogs for PTSD and, you know, other therapy dogs in hospitals for older folks and things like that. So it's very, very healthy, you know, just for the relaxation part.
Right. So let's switch a little bit. You've got a couple of events coming up, is that correct?
We
Tell us about
do,
those
we
two
do.
events.
Next weekend on September 26th, we have our annual Strut Your Mutt Community Walk and Pet Fair. It starts and ends at Pioneer Park.
Okay, which
Well,
is
that's by the library.
library.
Yeah, by the library. So we'll start setting up there about 8 in the morning. Registration starts at 8:30, and the walk actually starts at 10. And registration forms are available on our website. They're at the shelter. But how that works is you can either get pledges. A lot of people get pledges. You know, they ask their friends or family, "Hey, I'm going to do this walk. Will you pledge $5 or $10 or whatever they want?" So you have to have at least $30 in pledges or pay $30 for the registration, and you'll get a really nice Strut Your Mutt T-shirt. This year we're going with a really pretty fluorescent neon colors. That seems to be kind of out there right now, so that'll be kind of fun. There's prizes, there's concessions, there's vendor tables, there's going to be some demonstrations, games with prizes, so just a really fun family event. And some people dress up their dogs, and it's less than a mile, so it's not a really hard, and it's not a race, so it's just a morning walk.
Great.
Yeah.
And your other event coming up is?
The other one, we're really excited about this. We've never done this before. This is going to be our first annual Wine for Whiskers Ball.
Okay.
And it's a wine tasting that's going to be held at the Colonial Red Lion Hotel Ballroom. And it's going to be 2 hours of wine tasting from 7 to 9. And then after that, we are going to have the Mighty Flick Band play for the ball portion. So you can dance the night away for that. And this is a celebration. The reason we're doing it is a fundraiser, but it's to celebrate the enrichment that companion animals bring to the lives of humans, and also to celebrate the work that the Humane Society does in saving homeless animals and finding homes for homeless animals. You'll receive a commemorative wine glass, your taster for the evening, and we're going to have about 60 wines. We're going to have a beautiful spread of specialty breads and cheeses and crackers, desserts, fruits, chocolate fountain, a lot of fun stuff to go with it. And then for the silent auction, we're going to have beautiful, exquisite wine baskets. And we're hoping these wine baskets will end up being really fun, not just wine and cheese and crackers, but have some added, weekends out here or golf packages or whatever. So we're really excited about that. And then we're going to have some wine raffles also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the date on that one once more?
October 30th at the Red Lion Ballroom.
And so if anyone didn't jot all this stuff down, all they have to do is go to your website and you'll have information on both events there. Is that
Absolutely, yes.
Wonderful.
Or they could always give us a call too.
Okay. Obviously, money is a great donation. Is there any other donations that are really useful for the shelter?
Absolutely. We go through a lot of cleaning supplies at the shelter. I mean, there's cleaning being done all day long. We're washing blankets and sheets and things like that. So and sometimes they're not savable, so we have to throw them out. So, if we have any used sheets, comforters, sleeping bags, blankets, those kinds of things, we're always in need of bedding for the animals. The other thing we go through a lot is laundry detergent, liquid dishwashing soap, paper towels. We go through a lot of those, cat litter, dog food, dog treats, and the toys, the hard toys that keep them occupied, because, if they're in their kennel and they need something to do, Kongs, things like that can keep them occupied and keep their minds busy.
Great.
So, and we also have a wish list on our website too.
Website is the resource for all
Right,
that kind
and
of
again, or they could always call us and we can tell them, because sometimes there's urgent needs. I think it just happened on Tuesday. We were almost out of dishwashing liquid, and we put on our Facebook, help, and within an hour, the community, there was people bringing some dishwashing liquid into us. So.
Isn't that the fabulous part of our community is you put
fantastic.
that kind of word out for any group anywhere, and people just respond to
They're
it. I think
fantastic. We couldn't do it without them. Yeah.
We have
It really helps our budget. It helps, anything like that they're willing to help fund or help give. It really helps our budget.
Yeah, I think our business community and our general population is an extremely giving community. And
Absolutely.
It makes our community great.
Helen
without
is
a
very
doubt.
lucky.
Yes.
Yes, very blessed.
So, what have we not covered so far that we should mention?
Well, I guess one thing I do want to do is really, kind of off of what we were just saying, is we're so thankful and grateful to the Helena community, because they do, they respond anytime we have a need. They respond to our events. They support us a lot. Just a few weeks ago when we were up, we did the rescue up in Heart Butte. I don't know.
Fire reasons, right?
Yeah, there was a total evacuation of the town of Heart Butte, and as soon as we heard that, we sent a team up there. And we had, I think, 4 trucks with trailers and loaded to the gills with food and crates and blankets and cat litter and cat and dog food. And they went into the fire zone, and they had people that were at the shelter saying, here's the keys to my house, here's my address, I've got 2 dogs and a cat, can you go rescue them? They were told to evacuate, but they were told to leave their animals. So we knew that they needed our help because, what if? And so they did. They rescued about 80 animals.
That's that example. We've had other cases where people have had to go to court or whatever, and just a large number of animals that need to be taken care of all around, not just even in Lewis and Clark, but in several other counties.
Right.
You've always stepped in to make sure that those animals are cared for.
That is true. And we, even though we're located in Lewis and Clark County, we don't just service Helena, because we do have our Spay Montana program, which is a program of the Lewis and Clark Humane Society. And what that does, it's a mobile clinic, basically, where we go out to a lot of rural parts of the state and do low-cost spay-neuter clinics. And gosh, we do several of those, mostly in the summertime, of course. But that really helps, especially because it is at a reduced cost. So folks that can't afford to go to the vet to have their pet spayed or neutered, we can take care of them that way. And we can help them out with food and vaccinations and things like that too.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you're extremely well received by the givers through Montana Shares, that you provide such great, just the core basic needs of food and shelter for our pet communities. I know we have the State Employees Charitable Giving Campaign will be kicking off here at the end of the month.
Yes.
We've got 14,000 state employees, that a really generous group of people that that give. So it's the time to give. It's the giving season.
Right. And we're grateful for that. Just like any other nonprofit, the last quarter of the year is when we receive probably about 60% of our funds. So we're just so happy. I mean, every dollar counts. I mean, people, think, oh, well, my $5 isn't going to make a difference. It does. It really, really does. So we're grateful. We'll be at the rotunda in the Capitol for the SECGC, visiting with people there too.
Right. I think you just hit on something that's really important, which you said every dollar matters. We have that fundraiser going on at Van's Thriftway where every penny matters.
Absolutely.
And it adds up to significant amounts. And so everyone can be a philanthropist and everyone can make a difference in the community at whatever level they work at.
Absolutely.
It does make a difference.
Yes.
They've got changed things at various retail establishments around town for the Humane Society, and that adds up too. And that just all is part of the equation that makes it work, right?
It really does. I mean, even, a bag of dog food, a box of treats, cat litter, all of it helps us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, super. Thanks for the opportunity for our viewers to find out more about what you do besides we just take care of this number of pets in a year.
Right.
This is like the opportunity to see what the holistic picture of what goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me. And if anybody ever wants a tour, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Montana Shares. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.